Hi, good evening. Welcome to Spirit Connections here in the WCTV studios in Wareham. I'm pretty excited tonight. Like I start off all my shows, I always get so excited. But tonight is a special night because I have the producers of the Bridgewater Triangle documentary on, Mr. Aaron Cadieux.
Hello.
And Manny Famolare.
Close. That's okay.
I tried, and I
That's
practiced
okay,
today in the mirror saying it, and obviously I messed up. How do you pronounce your last name?
Famolare.
Famolare.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have Miss Lily Facino here helping me.
Hi.
Hi. So thank you guys. Thank you, Aaron, for coming back.
Well, thank you for having me again.
And it's your first time here.
It is.
Are you kind of nervous about it?
No.
No?
It's great that I made it this time. So.
Well, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. And I'm happy that you guys blessed us with these shirts.
You both look dashing.
I
Lovely,
love it.
I should say.
I
Men
love
look
it.
dashing, women look lovely.
Dapper and dashing. So, for all of you guys that are at home, I don't know if you've heard of this, but there is a Bridgewater Triangle. Can you guys explain a little bit what the Bridgewater Triangle is? And
Do you want to explain it, or do you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
It's an area in southeastern Massachusetts that has had a long history of odd and unexplained activity. UFOs, Bigfoot encounters, Thunderbird encounters, disappearances, and so forth. Loren Coleman coined the phrase back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it kind of stuck. He wrote an article for the Boston magazine, and then from there it went on to his book, Mysterious America, and then from that point on, tons of authors have written about it, and I believe we are the first ones to do a documentary on it.
awesome.
In the area,
Well,
so.
I grew up in Bridgewater, and right off of the Lake Nippatucket.
Nippanicket.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I call it
Close
the
enough.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
That's
obviously,
okay.
yeah, I'm messing up on names and such tonight, but that's okay. So I've always had an interest, and growing up, we used to party right next to the swamp area, which we coined the name Blueberry Fields. But so that has a lot of history to me. So how did you guys get together, and what made you want to even film a documentary on the Bridgewater Triangle?
Well, I had done a short documentary on the Bridgewater Triangle back in college at Fitchburg State in 2003. It's called Inside the Bridgewater Triangle. And it was more or less just a practice film. I never intended to sell it or anything like that. But it developed this huge following of people that saw the movie and gave copies to friends and whatnot. And before I knew it, I was getting phone calls and emails on a regular basis of people asking, can I get a copy of this film? Where can I buy it? I'm like, I can't sell it. You know what I mean? I use copyrighted music and images. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a kid at the time. And in the back of my mind, I always thought, wow, there's a really big interest in the Bridgewater Triangle. I said, if someday when I'm more established, running my own business, more experience as a filmmaker, maybe I'll tackle the subject as a feature-length documentary. And then fast forward to 2010, I started laying the foundation to do the film, and that's when I came across Manny Famolare's information, and I found out that he was doing a documentary on the same subject, or planning to. And so instead of having two competing films, we just joined forces and came up with one, comprehensive piece.
Together, everyone achieves more.
Exactly.
There's no competing when you complete each other.
Well, it was good. I mean, we both
Right.
brought different things to the table. Manny had done a lot of research in the area prior. He had a lot of connections of some of
Right.
the people that we interviewed. I was running my own video production company, so we didn't have to outsource any of the actual physical tasks involved with making this film other than the voiceover and some artist renditions. So it was kind of just a good mix to get this done.
So where did you start? Like what area? Because I know I brought up Bridgewater since I grew up in Bridgewater, but there's other areas such as Easton and Freetown and so forth. So where did you start? What was the root of it?
Well, I had started shooting it actually probably a year before meeting Manny. I shot, the first thing that we actually shot was Christopher Balzano's guided tour of the Freetown State Forest in 2009. And so that was the first thing that was shot, and then his interview. And then after that, I don't remember.
I don't know. I remember seeing a clip of Alan Alves that you shot on Vimeo.
Oh, I had shot that
Yeah.
prior to meeting Manny as well, an interview with Alan Alves.
I think that was the first one that I saw when I started doing it.
And how long have you been doing this, man?
I heard about it as a kid, and I
Okay.
remember going into the swamp looking for Bigfoot. We didn't find him, but we went in there, and growing up, I was a skateboarder, so wherever I went, I took my parents' video camera with me. So I remember saying, I want to make a movie on this one day. But I never did. I was only a kid.
Right.
But then around 2009, I started doing some research. And then I found out that Aaron was doing it too, and we just kind of hooked up together.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's funny because, like I said, you have the folklore behind it, and I ended up going to school with someone, I think he was featured in your film, Jim Rice.
Yeah, James Michael Rice.
Yep, James, yeah, that's right, James, sorry. James Michael Rice.
Jim Rice is the baseball player.
Right, right. But he grew up on Elm Street, which is right near the Indian Rock Bridge and so forth, and he had told us, our friends had told us some stories, and he actually written books about it, you know, or at least put some excerpts in about the Bridgewater Triangle. And so that just sparked my imagination on it even further. So right now, we actually have a clip that I want to show. I believe it's the trailer.
The trailer, yeah.
We'll show the trailer first? Okay. So hopefully someone back there is going to show it.
In 1975, I moved from California to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And I started picking up on this whole notion that there was an area in southeast Massachusetts that almost was a magnet of weird phenomena, and really noticed it was a triangle.
Whatever it is, we keep talking about this region for some reason.
I certainly think that the Hockomock Swamp serves as the epicenter of activity in the Bridgewater Triangle.
Off in the distance was an extremely large, man-like creature.
I saw something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. I saw what appeared to be the Sasquatch creature that I heard about.
Suddenly, I saw something walk. It was about 3 or 4 feet tall. It wanted to get me in its space. This is what I felt like.
A lot of people seem to think that because of King Philip's War, the Native Americans placed a curse on the Bridgewater Triangle region.
One of the greatest paranormal experiences occurred at Anawan Rock. As I turned around, I met the eyes of an older man.
The 1970s in particular were a time of very high UFO activity in the Bridgewater Triangle.
Jerry Lopes and I were heading down to the Rainham Dog Track, and all of a sudden the stars blotted out in the shape of an arrow as this thing passed overhead.
I almost felt like I could throw a rock at the thing. It seemed that close to me.
I pulled over the Rainham Dog Track parking lot. I'm right under this orb as it's birthing these ships. What I seen was definitely not from this world.
A lot of criminal cult activity happened in the Freetown State Forest.
We had evidence that a ritual was taking place in the state forest. Then there was a huge amount of calves with the absence of blood.
This mausoleum was broken into, and juveniles actually stole the head out of here.
They believed that they could gain power by drinking from the skull.
Legends and stories about the Bridgewater Triangle will never stop. Nobody can argue that there isn't something very special about this area.
Something real happened here. There's no other way.
I don't believe in the Bridgewater Triangle. I accept it.
And there it is. It's crazy to me. Of course, for you guys that usually watch Spirit Connections or Spooky South Coast, 30 Odd Minutes, I know you guys are familiar with Jeff Belanger, Tim Weisberg, Andrew Lake, who wasn't in the trailer, but he's in there. Matt Moniz, there's so many people that, Luann Jolly, she's been on here too. There's so many people in this area that take part in this documentary. And I think it's wonderful. So you guys premiered, was it October 20th, 2013?
October 20th, yep, at UMass Dartmouth in front of a 750 people sellout crowd. And then a week later, we showed it at Bridgewater State University on a Monday night. It was a Sunday night, and that was a sellout in front of 450 people as well.
And that's when it just turned hot, because
yeah,
I remember you guys were worried about the premiere. You're just hoping to, we're just going to get it out there and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, it just took over like wildfire.
Yeah, and a lot of the local outlets, media outlets, were very gracious to run articles in the newspapers. You guys had us on your show. So just that attention that the film got, I think, got people excited and got people in the seats, which was really cool.
And it continues, because I know that you guys, the first time you did anything in Bridgewater was at Uplifting Connections, and, oh, sorry, it was Bridgewater State.
No, Uplifting Connections was actually first.
Oh, first? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, they were.
So Uplifting Connections was first, and I know whenever time you go there, it holds about 60 people, and you guys just sell out like that. Like,
Yep.
it's nothing. Like,
We've
oh, yeah,
shown
it's just...
probably about at least 10 times at Uplifting Connections.
Yeah, so, I mean, think about it, guys. What does that say? Another thing that I'm getting excited about it. I'm like, la, la, la. But you guys are very unbiased about, well, I know you are, Aaron, because I know you brought that up. You're very neutral as far as your beliefs.
Yeah, I'm actually very skeptical about a lot of the reports that I hear, and I'm one of those people that I'll believe it when I see it for myself. But even saying that, there were a couple of stories in the film that I found very intriguing, and even made me take a step back and kind of say, whoa, maybe there is something going on here. One of the clips we can play in a little bit is the scene from the UFO section of the film.
Okay.
With two news reporters that corroborated the same story of seeing the same craft, which was really interesting.
Yeah, I'm the same way with the UFO. That is a story that even my friends have seen, that UFO, so...
Well, I've
makes you
heard
think.
stories of, aircrafts flying over the swamp with the three lights, and it's not in the air flight pattern that it's supposed to be in.
Not everybody's nuts, so it's got to be something out there. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's amazing. So you guys started out with the big venues. You also do the small venues. Okay, I'm going to get a little paranormal on you. Have you been to a venue where you thought that it actually might be haunted, where you showed I was kind of piecing two and two together.
Middleboro, the Alley Theater in Middleboro.
Yes.
The owner
Beautiful
stated
place.
the owner stated that the place is haunted.
Lorna?
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some readings there, and it's a really neat theater. I like it there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys, that's actually where you're going to be going next, right?
Friday.
Friday.
We have a screening there. Yep.
Yeah, they still have tickets available.
Oh, excellent. So you guys at home, if you're looking, you have to go to the Alley Street Theater in Middleboro, and I'm sure they have a website. Or can they purchase it on your website?
No, you have to call ahead and reserve tickets for the
okay.
Alley. And there's a section on our website called Upcoming Shows, and it just gives a list of all the shows in chronological order, and then it gives the contact information to how to get tickets.
And what's your website?
Our website is thebridgewatertriangledocumentary.com, or you could go to bridgewatertriangle.com. They both go to the same place.
Excellent. And you guys are on Twitter?
Yep, and Facebook.
And Facebook.
Yep, we are.
So there's ways that you can get in touch with them. That's awesome. And I also want to bring up the merchandise because, again, you guys are gracious enough to bring us shirts, so thank you very much.
No problem.
But you can actually get Bridgewater Triangle merch now.
Yeah.
And you can get that through your website too.
Yep, we have a store attached to the website. We have t-shirts, mugs.
Keychains, but they're limited, but we're getting more.
Posters, both the full size,
and the little
27 by 40 official size movie posters, and the small ones
Excellent.
too. The 27 by 40s are pretty cool.
And eventually
Yeah.
we'll have more merchandise, stickers, and
Well,
you know,
it's
different
again
designs.
wildfire. It's like you guys. Okay, we'll premiere it in October, and all of a sudden, I think it's just been crazy for you guys, and you're
Yeah.
trying to catch up.
From newspaper articles to even Channel 5 Chronicle to even Coast to Coast AM. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going.
And now, have you guys been asked to do anything nationally?
We have a tentative offer coming our way from, and I can't say specifics about
Okay.
it, from a very high-profile cable outlet that is interested in acquiring the U.S. broadcast rights to the film.
Are you saying WCTV?
Yeah, on that scale. Yeah. But we're very excited about that, and we're waiting to hear from them, and they said we should be getting an offer of some kind. So.
Excellent. Well, I mean, if you go to any shows now, like the Travel Channel, Discovery Channel, shows like that, I mean, I know it was featured in, was it Haunted America? Or was it, it was just
The
filmed.
most recent one?
Yeah.
Monsters and Mysteries in
That's
America?
That's it.
Yeah, on Destination America.
Destination
Yeah.
America, that's it. So it's out there.
If a lot of the lists that come out that list like the most haunted locations in the world, they had one that came out that was the most haunted locations outside of the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Bridgewater Triangle is #1. So it's not just a local interest in the Bridgewater Triangle. I mean, as you get outside of New England, maybe the general public isn't as aware of it, but people that are interested in the paranormal across the world have heard about the Bridgewater Triangle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And I've seen, again, I was able to see the documentary because I remember when it first came out, you and I were going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have a reading this day, I have that. And it was finally like 2 months later, I think, I was able to say, okay, can I go to it now? Can I, see it? So it definitely, I liked it because, like I said, I've had the experience, my own personal experience, but I've also, it was very informative because there was a lot of things that I didn't really know about the Freetown State Forest and the cults and things like that. That was kind of an eye-opening moment for me because in my mind I always thought I heard of the Thunderbird, I heard of Bigfoot, I heard of the anacondas, the big large snakes and so forth. So seeing that perspective was a little bit different. What about you guys? Did you have anything that really stuck out? Like I know you guys just mentioned the UFO, which we'll play that.
Yeah, a couple clips. That clip in particular, and Bill Russo's clip in particular of what he claims he saw allegedly in Rainham. Are two clips that.
Well,
really
why don't
stick
we
out.
play? Why don't we play one of those? If we can play the UFO clip.
The spring of 1979 proved to be the most active period of documented UFO sightings in the history of the Bridgewater Triangle region. A number of news outlets and law enforcement agencies were flooded with reports of large, low-flying UFOs. During that time, former WHDH reporters Jerry Lopes and Steve Sprazia claimed to have witnessed what is arguably the most famous UFO sighting to occur within the Bridgewater Triangle.
Jerry Lopes and I worked at WHDH Radio, and we were heading down to the Rainham dog track, and when we got off 24 onto 106, I noticed this really bright light over the tree line, and the light was coming closer and closer and getting bigger and bigger. And I remember saying to Jerry, what is that over there? So we pulled his vehicle over, and all of a sudden the stars blotted out in the shape of an arrow as this thing passed overhead.
Ironically, I'm a big baseball fan, it looked like a baseball home plate, and there were a series of lights on it.
And it was very, very wide. Perhaps the width of now, we'd say 5 747s wing to wing.
It looked like it had a little cord or something hanging off it, and sparks were coming off of it. I almost felt like I could throw a rock at the thing. It seemed that close to me.
This was pretty much the shape of it. And this thing passed overhead like this. For me, what first attracted me was this light that kind of came into our field of vision, just like that. And as this thing passed overhead, it just kept coming and coming and coming. And the light kept getting bigger and bigger.
I'm an Air Force veteran. I've been in the Air Force for 4.5 years. I've been around a number of different planes, and I said to Steve, that's not one of ours. And it just hovered there for a minute. It looked like it was over a little bit of a field, and the next thing you know, it just kind of took off.
We continued on to the dog track, and most of the conversation that evening was, what did we see? Up to that point, I had been 100% skeptic. I thought anybody who ever saw these things, they were either crazy or publicity hounds, or there was just something wrong with them in their head altogether. What I didn't realize at the time was that a lot more people had seen it than just Jerry and I.
Interestingly, over the course of the next week, there were a series of spottings, different sightings. It was reported in the papers, reported on the radio station, and at that point, Steve and I decided to come forward and say, hey, we actually saw something.
A couple of days later, an article appears in the Brockton Enterprise. And not only does it have interviews with Jerry and I, but quite a number of other folks in and around the Randolph area who had seen it. But they've got the staff artist take all of our recollections and put together a drawing, an artist rendition, which looked pretty much like this. And it's like, whoa. I keep looking up because even to this day, as I look up, I can imagine I can see the darn thing. It made that much of an impression on me.
I saw what I saw. I reported what I saw, and I've moved on.
Awesome. Everybody stares at me. I'm like, oh. awesome. It's great. Lily, we have a question?
Yes. What are the patterns, what patterns emerged with regards to activity, and are there highlighted times of activity?
I don't think so. People say they see balls of light in January behind a dog track. I don't think, and then of course in the wintertime because of the snow, people say they see prints in the snow. I don't know if there's any other times.
I would say not in terms of times, but the Bridgewater Triangle, it's 200 square miles. So I always chuckle when somebody who's from outside the region says, I'm going to go investigate the Bridgewater Triangle. You can't investigate the Bridgewater Triangle. You have to investigate one of the many locations that make up the Bridgewater Triangle. So one of the things I think the activity is kind of regionalized to a degree. You have areas in the Bridgewater Triangle that are known for specific things, not necessarily in specific times, but in specific locations. Like the Hockomock Swamp, although there are spook-like sightings and there are reports of ghosts and things, it's mainly known as a hotbed for cryptozoological sightings, Bigfoot, Thunderbirds, things of that nature. Then you got the Freetown State Forest, which has a reputation for having an elevated level of bizarre crime. You know, you have the reports of satanic cults. It's been a dumping ground for murder victims. But you do have a little bit of that ghost and Native American folklore tied in down there. Then you have locations like Rehoboth and East Bridgewater, which are both known as like ghost towns with a lot of reports of ghost sightings and ghost
I feel like
encounters.
I should be taking notes with this because it's like, oh, okay, because it's so informative.
Well, and then you have, you know, mixed in the batch, you have geological mysteries like Dighton Rock and Profile Rock and Native American folklore and Native American historic sites. It's just kind of, rather than a paranormal hotspot, I like to think of it as just a window into the unexplained, because it's not just paranormal activity, you just have a bunch of mysteries and folklore and legend just in a big
It's a big
bunch.
ball. Yeah, it really is. It really
Yeah, you
is.
can't keep track of all the stories of things that happen, even things that you may feel are not related to the odd and unexplained.
No, with the red-headed hitchhiker on 44, would that be part
It
of that, or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as a skeptic, I kind of look at that as being urban legend, but urban legends tie into the whole concept of the Bridgewater Triangle, because you have these stories that pop up that are pretty hard to believe, and usually it's my cousin's boyfriend's sister's roommate saw it.
Yeah.
But, you know, the red-headed hitchhiker, Route 44, the mad trucker of Copacut Road, those are the kind of things that just kind of mix themselves in with the more credible stories.
And that's the thing. It's like it's just you're putting to life what I grew up on. A lot of these folklores.
We were actually
what you grew up on too.
Yeah,
you know.
we were actually.
We all grew up in the.
When
area.
we were filming the Mad Trucker of Copacut Road, a big pickup truck with a big light bar actually came out of the woods, which was kind of interesting. We thought it was somebody we knew, but it wasn't. But that was just kind of interesting because we were filming it.
Yeah.
And it comes out of the woods.
You answered my question because I was just going to ask, did you guys experience anything during the filming or anything that would have been considered a little odd or paranormal, if
I'd
you
say
will?
that's a little odd.
Yeah, the oddest
happened.
thing that I experienced, and this again was shot before Manny and I started working together, was, I'll try to condense this, it's kind of a long story, but I filmed Chris Balzano's tour in the Freetown State Forest, and he ended up locking his keys in his car, and he was supposed to go do a book signing in Dartmouth. So we had like a 2-hour window where we were waiting for AAA to come way out into the middle of the Freetown State Forest. So we were like, let's shoot an interview. Can I interview you and ask you some questions? Because we weren't planning, we didn't have enough time to do it. Now we did. Andrew Lake was there. He let me borrow his battery-operated camera light. We set up a quick impromptu interview. And as Chris is doing the interview, he starts talking about the legend of the Wampum Belt, which after King Philip was killed, before he died, he passed the Wampum Belt on to his war chief, Anawan, who, after King Philip was killed, Anawan was captured by Captain Benjamin Church at Anawan Rock, which is where the official surrender of the Wampanoag people took place during King Philip's War. Anawan presented the belt to Church as a symbol of his surrender. Since then, the belt has disappeared. Nobody knows where it is. It could be in a museum in England, it could be in a private collection in somebody's attic somewhere, or it could be at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. So nobody knows where it is, and Chris was talking about how a lot of people theorize that until the Wampum Belt is returned to the Wampanoags, that the strange activity in the Bridgewater Triangle will continue. While he was talking about that, the lights went out, which was kind of strange. And we get everything back up and running, and you hear Matt Moniz in the background say, hey, Chris, do you realize that while you were talking about the disappearance of the Wampum Belt, that the lights went out? And Chris got, kind of flustered and laughed and thought it was really, really neat. And then he kind of turns to his side in a joking manner as if he's talking to a ghost and says, "We hear your message. If I could, I would return it." And as soon as he said return it, bam, the light went out again.
Do we have that clip?
We don't have that clip.
No, you have to see the film.
Yeah, we've tried to. We're kind of limiting the number of clips that we release, but that one, even as a skeptic, again, I was like, what are the odds of that happening? And it's one of those things where there are so many ghost hunting shows on TV. They all would kill for something like that.
Right.
You know, so many of those shows have to fabricate their evidence because they're not coming, you know, and we just happened to capture something like that organically, which was just like a once in a million shot.
And it happened. And it happened. And you can see it when you watch the movie. Now, what if someone can't make it to the movie? I know you guys travel everywhere, but what if someone can't make it and they, you know, transportation reasons, health reasons, what have you? Can they watch their movie at home or?
Yep.
The on-demand link is on our website. It looks like a big ticket, and it says video on demand. You can click that, and it's $5.99. Oh.
It's a reasonable price.
Yeah, it's a reasonable price. It's 24-hour rental. So.
You get it for 24 hours. You have to sign up for a Vimeo account. Vimeo is like YouTube. It's a video streaming service. You sign up for the account, and then you just enter the credit card information, and you can watch it. You have it for 24 hours.
Well, and it's less than you would pay to go to a regular movie.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big screen. You're watching it on your computer or smart device, so, you know, we wouldn't charge you for that, what we would charge to see it on the big screen.
Excellent. And so, okay, so this Friday we're doing...
Alley Theater in
Theater.
Middleboro. Yep.
And then you guys just went to the Alden House.
We did, in Duxbury. It was great.
Excellent.
They do it.
And you guys are going back there?
I think they're going to book a third show, so keep an eye on the website.
Oh, wow,
for
yeah,
that.
that's right. It's a third show. So
Mhm.
you went boom, boom, like, because it was a few weeks ago you did your first one, right?
Yeah,
And then,
we did 2 consecutive Fridays.
okay.
And we also have, we're going to be showing at the Southeastern New England Film Festival in Rhode Island at the Cable Car Cinema on Sunday, April 27th at 3 p.m., I think.
I think it's 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
I think it is.
We have information on how to get tickets to that if you want to see it as part of a film festival.
And that's going to be a busy weekend for you because the 26th, you have April 26th is...
2 events that day.
Wow.
Paranormal for Pause at 1:30?
That's in Franklin.
1:30, I think it is.
And as of right now, there's still a show scheduled at a private show up in Danvers, Mass. So if anybody's up on the North Shore, we have the information for that show on our website as well.
So you're everywhere.
Trying to be.
Yeah. I mean, and when I do family readings and go to people's houses, I'll talk about it, and I always, I always get like 1 or 2 people that are like, "Oh my gosh, I heard about the documentary." I've actually heard some people say, "I've seen it and I want to go back and see it again," because just like with any movie that you really enjoy, a lot of times you like to see it more than once, so you can go back and, "Oh, I missed that the first time," or I didn't catch that. So
we've had quite a few people repeat viewings, and they always bring different friends every time they come to the show.
Yeah, we had a few people on Sunday come and see it again, I think for the 3rd time.
Yeah, one gentleman may have been his 4th time,
Yeah.
and he said he's going to come again, so...
See, and that's great.
It's flattering.
It is, and you guys should be very proud of yourselves because you've come a long way in such a short, it's been, what, 6 months?
6 months, and it's not like a movie in a mainstream theater where it's showing multiple times a day. It's usually showing, once or twice a week, maybe at the most. So it's for the amount of time that it's been out, it's done quite a bit.
Now, have you gotten the question, what's next? Are you guys going to do more with the Bridgewater Triangle, or?
Well, I would like to continue moving on with more with the Bridgewater Triangle. I know that Aaron...
I'm not opposed to doing more on the Bridgewater Triangle. I kind of got my next topic in mind. I'd like
Loch
to do...
Ness Monster?
No, actually. Venturing outside of the paranormal, I'd love to do a feature-length documentary on the New Bedford Highway murders that happened in the late 80s.
Yeah.
I think that's a fascinating case. It's the 2nd deadliest serial killer in Massachusetts history after the Boston Strangler, and nobody's ever done a documentary on that case. So I shouldn't even be saying it because somebody could steal my idea. But.
Yeah, but I mean, it's what you're doing, and a lot of people like to know, like, okay, you started here, so we're going to grow, and where are we going to grow, and so forth. So people want to know what you're doing. I think you guys should do designate a date to have a Bridgewater Triangle Day.
One of the things I've always thought, and somebody will probably steal this and run with it, but it's fine because I probably don't have the energy to do it. There should be a Paracon every year at some location in the Bridgewater Triangle. They could change the venue every year, but it should be called the Bridgewater Triangle Summit. And it should happen every year at one specific town in Bridgewater. It would be just like any other Paracon event, except it would be in the Bridgewater Triangle. And they could run tours and bring people to the different locations and have the vendors come in. I think that would be a fantastic event.
I know I have heard of that idea before from someone, but it just never came into fruition. So.
Well, there's even rumors, there was an article about the Bridgewater being a possible location for the casino.
Right.
Put a casino in. And then somebody in the article mentioned a Bridgewater Triangle Museum. And I tried to follow up and see who's behind that or whatever, and I couldn't get any information. But even that idea has been floated.
Now, one other clip that I want to show, too, is you had mentioned Manny Bill Russo. Okay, and...
we don't have that clip.
Oh.
Sorry.
Never mind.
You can show
You're going to have to watch it.
The John Baker Bigfoot clip, though.
Okay, that's what we're going to show then.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. If you want to lead us up to the clip.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
in the early 1980s, a gentleman named John Baker, who was a West Bridgewater resident, he's since passed away, but he claimed to have an encounter with a Bigfoot-type creature while trapping on the Hockomock Swamp in his canoe. And an article on that experience was featured in the Boston Herald, and we have the reporter reading John Baker's quotes for this scene in the film. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. All right, let's have a look.
Deceased West Bridgewater resident John Baker reported his own Bigfoot sighting while fur trapping in the Hockomock Swamp in the early 1980s. A Boston Herald article featured an interview with Baker concerning his encounter. The following are direct quotes from Baker, read by the article's author, Ed Hayward.
Something was following me, and I knew it was big. So I took the boat down a small creek to a dry hill, and it kept moving. I knew it wasn't a human because when it passed by me, I could smell it. It smelled like skunk, musty and dirty, like it lived in the dirt. My heart was up in my throat. To this day, I don't know what it was, but I know I saw it, and it was out there.
Oh. I always like my words after. Amazing, awesome, wow.
That's actually me.
That's how you do it too?
In the Bigfoot costume.
Yeah, Manny played Bigfoot.
Yeah, is it really?
That's me, yeah.
It must have been hot because it looked like it was summer.
Yeah, it was very hot.
That was a very interesting shoot. We actually shot that at Lake Nipponicket in one of the back corners of the pond, tucked away from society. We found a perfect spot to do it, so half of us loaded into the canoe. The other half went on foot down the paths to meet us at this remote spot.
Right.
We set up the dolly tracks. We, put on mosquito repellent, crawled in the water to get to the canoe and hold the camera in the water and put the equipment at risk and everything. But
you'll be able to see
it.
some bonus features in the film then of that.
Is it a blooper reel? Did you guys include a blooper reel?
We do have a blooper reel.
Yeah, we do,
It's
actually.
going to be on the DVD, yeah.
Everybody likes a blooper reel.
Yeah, they're always funny.
Yeah.
Jeff Belanger had quite a few funny remarks in his interview that we stuck in the blooper reel.
Good, shocking that Jeff would have crazy remarks. Now you guys have been on Spooky South Coast.
We have. We've been on Spooky South Coast, WCVB Chronicle up in Boston, and Coast to Coast AM with George
Now,
Knapp.
Chronicle you had to dress up for, huh?
We didn't have to.
I don't think we had to, but we did. Because there was another guest that didn't dress up that was there. I don't think he did.
He looked okay. I don't remember anything particularly slavish.
You guys showered that day.
Yeah.
That was a bonus. So that's good.
That was a huge thing
That
for
was-
us. Being on Chronicle, we had an explosion of interest after that. I mean, completely honestly, I heard we were going to be on Chronicle and I was flattered. Now, I remember watching that as a kid.
Right.
And I was like,
right?
does anybody still watch Chronicle anymore? Apparently they do, because it was crazy after that.
I'm telling you, because I know we're all obsessed with social media, and even I said, okay, what's your website? How can they find you on Twitter, Facebook, and so forth? But even on like any events, if you put it in the newspaper, like the old school newspaper, it's gonna blow up. So it's the same thing with Chronicle. You're thinking, it's been around for so long, like who really watches it? Doesn't matter. Sometimes if you just do it the old-fashioned way, it it really pays off.
Well, they did some great bumpers for us because they wanted to promote their show. So they took our film and created their own promotional commercials for Chronicle for that night's show. And they were really well done.
Yeah, they were.
And I think that those bumpers helped to draw viewers in that may not have otherwise watched Chronicle, you know?
Well, I thought it was funny because, Manny, after that you had posted, I think you were at the VA hospital, and someone had recognized you.
Actually, I was at Boston Medical Center.
Oh, okay,
And the
BMC.
entire cath lab team had recognized me. Yeah, that was interesting.
I have a memory. I don't stalk. I swear, I'm only a mild stalker. I
Yeah.
don't stalk avidly.
I've only filed a
but-
couple of complaints against you, I think.
Okay, I mean, yeah, there's just a couple. But I have a crazy memory, and that's why I'm like October 20th, because that's stuck, because I couldn't go, and so I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remembered your post.
People still see me and
Yeah.
still recognize us.
So what was
Yeah.
that like? A little bit of like feeling
I asked them if they
famous?
watched it or if they just were flipping through the channels, and they said they watched it. They found it interesting. So-
I shoot pool in a league on Wednesday nights, and that was a Wednesday, and I went to pool directly from Chronicle. I got in there, and they dropped down the big projector screen at the place we play pool, and they actually projected the show, and like all these people in the restaurant saw, and I walked in, the whole restaurant was clapping. It was like really weird, but it was nice.
But like I said, you guys should be really proud of your achievements because it's putting life into something where it's just been talked about for so long, and there's books written about it and so forth. But actually being able to watch it, and I mean, it's really inspiring for a lot of people.
Well, one of the things that we tried to do, so many people that we featured in the film have written about the Bridgewater Triangle, have written about hauntings in southeastern Mass. So throughout the film, when we introduced these people, we tried our best to show some of the publications on screen. Just not necessarily as a commercial, buy this book, but we just wanted to show the vast array of publications that have been done on the Bridgewater Triangle. You know, you see one book, and every book that we would feature would be in the forefront, and then the rest of the books would be lined up behind it.
Right.
So you just could see like all the material that's out there on the Bridgewater Triangle, which was kind of neat, I thought.
It's crazy too, because
It's still growing too.
And especially,
so-
I'm sure, like around Halloween, it gets a little bit more avid.
This Halloween will be more interesting
Yeah.
than last Halloween, though.
Yeah, I mean, we timed the release of the film for October 20th for a reason. But by the time it premiered, it was only 11 days, and then Halloween was over. So this year, we'll have DVDs in hand. We have all these Terracon and Paracon events that we could be going to. So leading up to this Halloween will probably be more exciting than the last Halloween.
Now, you brought up a good point. So at these conventions, people can purchase the DVDs? Will you have
Hopefully
them?
by June.
Okay,
We're
so
hoping.
I know Terracon's
Yeah.
going to be huge. That's in Rhode Island, the convention center in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing my thing there too. So hopefully you guys have your DVDs there because it's going to be huge.
Well, we hope to do DVD and Blu-ray for people that have Blu-ray players.
See, I missed the boat on the Blu-ray.
Still time.
I
They've
still have
dropped in price
VHS.
considerably.
Do you offer VHS? No.
Yeah, I'll make a VHS for
Okay.
you.
All right, special.
We'll make one.
Always special. Do you have a question, Lily? No. Oh, okay. Sometimes Lily and I make eye contact. It's just to giggle. No questions. But if you guys have questions, again, I have Aaron Cadieux and Manny Famolare. Famolare.
You said it right that time.
I tried. If I learned if I did it slow,
Mhm.
it will come out. But I get
Nobody
sometimes
gets
too
it right.
excited, and
Yeah.
But these guys are the producers of the Bridgewater Triangle documentary that first showed less than a year ago, only 6 months ago, back in October, and now it's caught on like wildfire, and they're showing everywhere, and everywhere they're showing it's sold out. But I'm shocked that there's still some tickets available this Friday night at the Alley Street Theater in Middleboro.
That's correct.
So-
Yeah. That's a great venue too. They do a really
I
nice
love it
job
there.
there. They feed you. They have drinks. They have a bar, not an open bar, but they have a bar. So it's a really nice place to see the film.
And you need to get out. I mean, come on, it's nice weather. Come on. Or if you can't get out, you can go to the BridgewaterTriangleDocumentary.com, and there's a big icon that says "Get your tickets." Right, Manny?
It does.
Okay.
It looks like a big ticket.
Like a big ticket.
Yeah.
For a reasonable price.
Reasonable price.
Reasonable
yeah.
price.
That Manny didn't blurt out earlier.
Well, one thing that you guys can help too, you guys that are at home, they're trying to get them. Can I talk about East Bridgewater or no?
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, it wasn't our initiative, so yeah, sure.
They're trying to get the documentary shown at the East Bridgewater cinemas. So they're trying to get names. They're doing a petition. So you guys at home, find it. I know it's on my personal page. I should post it on my Spirit Medium page.
Yeah, they're looking for 1,000 signatures. I think we're at like 70-something.
I think 76.
We did nothing to do with that petition. It was actually a guy who wants it shown there. And he was like, there's no reason why they shouldn't show this movie here. I agree. So, you know, they might be getting a petition signed by a bunch of people. Maybe. Who knows what will happen after that.
You know what? Have you guys tried the Foxborough Theater?
Have not tried the Foxborough Theater, no.
One of my friends did a, he's a director and he did a slasher flick and he premiered it at the Foxborough Theater.
I know what you're talking about.
It's right at the Rotary.
Yep.
Yeah, we looked into that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it
Orpheum
is.
Theater.
They had a horror event last year, right? Or was it the year before?
I'm not sure.
I think
It was the year before. It was at least probably going on 3 years ago.
They showed a bunch of horror
that they-
films for 24 hours. Yeah, I
Yep.
think I know what you're talking about. I forgot about that, yeah.
That would be a good place.
Yeah, we're open to anybody that has a space that wants to do an after-hours event or has the space to put chairs out. We can provide the projector, we can provide the sound system, we can provide the Blu-ray and the Blu-ray player. You just got to book us and we'll work out an arrangement and you can try to drum up some extra money for your business.
Right, so it's good for the business and you guys do fundraising events as well.
Yeah, we're doing Paranormal for Pause on April 26th.
26th.
Yep.
In Franklin.
In Franklin, yeah.
Right, and the good thing about that, my personal favorite is that you can bring your dog, but you have to make sure it's on a regular leash, not one of those retractable leashes, FYI. I have 3 dogs. I don't know which one I'm going to bring, if I'm going to bring any. It might be a little hectic.
I have one. You want it?
I can't. I'd have to get a kennel license if I had a 4th.
It might be worth
But
it.
I know. My dogs are crazy, but they're my life, so that's all. How's the chat room looking, Lily?
Good.
We do have another clip if you'd like to play
Oh,
another
yeah,
clip.
definitely.
It's from the Freetown State Forest section of the film, and it talks about, and it's probably the heaviest of the clips that we brought, it talks about the murder of a 15-year-old girl from Raynham. So we can play that clip.
Although satanic-related crimes and activity often dominate headlines relating to the Freetown State Forest, the area has also been associated with a number of isolated crimes, odd occurrences, and paranormal activity. In 1978, the remains of 15-year-old Raynham resident Mary Lou Arruda were found tied to a tree in the forest.
Mary Lou Arruda was on her bicycle on a dirt road in Raynham, and she was knocked off her bike and kidnapped, brought to the state forest in Freetown, and subsequently murdered. Her body was found 2 months later in November of '78 by 2 dirt bike riders. They said, we found a headless body tied to a tree. It was like a week after Halloween, so I figured it must be a dummy. And they brought me to the area. They wouldn't go near it. They pointed up there, and I walked up the hill, and sure enough, it was a headless body of a female tied to the tree.
Eventually, 32-year-old James Cater was tried and convicted of the kidnapping and murder. The death of Mary Lou Arruda is often confused with crimes committed by the Fall River satanic cult.
Although the James Cater case, Mary Lou Arruda case had absolutely nothing to do with a satanic crime, unfortunately her body was found near some of that activity.
His defense attorney basically put forth the theory that a cult had killed Arruda and not him. This kind of led to an attaching that he was perhaps involved with a cult, and that's what happened.
I had to testify in that case and say, in my opinion, it had nothing to do with that. He appealed it several times, got 3 or 4 trials, but he's still doing life in prison for that crime.
I'm waiting for you guys to look at me. I waited this time. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. And it was like, boom, boom,
Tiffany?
boom. Yep. Back to you. And that's actually a horrific story that I remember hearing as I was growing up. And, you know, unfortunately that did happen. And
that could be a documentary in itself.
And I'm surprised it's not.
It could be, yeah.
There are a lot of subjects that we cover in this film that could be documentaries by themselves. I mean, there's a lot of topics. You could do a documentary just on the Hockomock Swamp. You could do one just on the satanic cult stuff that was going on in Fall River and Freetown. You could take any one of those topics and do a separate film.
And it doesn't just start on one time period. This has been going on for years. you know, for years, absolutely. Like, it's not just, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, is like, it's not just that in the 70s, this is what happened, and that's that. It just, it continues on. And I'm sure there are more reports out there because people have their eyes open. People are more accepting of it. Just like Lauren Coleman said, you know, he accepts the Bridgewater Triangle.
Exactly. That's the famous quote now.
Yes, yes. Now, is he able to get out to any of the documentaries? I know
He came to
far out.
Dartmouth.
He came to the premiere at UMass Dartmouth right before he got married, actually.
Yeah, and that was it, I think. I don't think he's... We were going to do some screenings up there at his museum, but we haven't heard anything yet, though.
Yeah, we're trying. He's, you know, I know he's always trying to raise money for the museum, so we're
Right.
like, we'll bring the film up there, show it, raise money for the museum.
Perfect.
So we're hoping that he takes us up on our offer. I mean, he's had he's been going through some tough things. I know his brother passed away, and
Right.
it was very sad. So, but you know, we'd love to show it up there.
Excellent. And what about the other people? Andrew Lake, Tim Weisberg, what about those guys? Do they get to make it to the premieres at all?
Some of those guys come to the Alley Theater in Middleboro. I know John Brightman does. Luann Jolly comes to every single one.
Alan Alves comes to a lot
Alan
of them.
Alves comes to a lot. Luann Jolly just recently came to Duxbury, and I know that I think the next screening, I think Derek Gunn is going to try to make it, and
Good.
Luann's going to come back too.
Good.
You know, it's like we said on Sunday, we finally got Jeff Belanger to come to a show, which was great. He did a fantastic job. He's such an articulate guy, and during the Q&A, he just has a presence when he's up there in front
Right.
of the room.
He's very comfortable.
Yeah, he is very comfortable.
And it's nice to have somebody like that to kind of rule the roost sometimes.
Absolutely.
When it comes to a Q&A session. So that's good. I remember hearing that actually Tony Moran showed up to Middleboro once. And
which was interesting.
He's the original Michael Myers from Halloween.
Nobody knew who he was until they announced it. He could have sat there the whole time. Nobody would have known.
Well, because you have the mask over your head.
I know. He took it off for a second in that movie, but
He looks a little
He
different
was
now.
only
That
a
was
kid.
back in, what, 1978? That movie?
78.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So,
Long time ago. Right. So
felt
you
old.
never know who you're going to see when you go, so it gives you even more reason to get out there and check it out.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's catching on. You know, it's been a lot of work. I mean, this took about 4 years to finish this movie. And why did it take so long? Because both of us worked full time. This wasn't, you know, something that we could devote a full-time effort to.
It's a labor of love.
Exactly. And even the edit process, we started editing in January of 2013. We didn't finish until about 2 weeks before the film premiered. You know, we've actually made a couple tweaks here and there, you know, spelling corrections and title corrections and stuff like that along the way. But yeah, it's been.
Now, have you guys run into any overexcited fans?
we have. We've run into some people after the film is done, some interesting people. Aaron, you can...
I think when you do something on the paranormal, you're sometimes going to run into some odd folks. You know, it tends to draw a strange audience once in a while. And some of these shows, we always try to do a Q&A after the show, and people stick around, and sometimes they stick around a little too long. And, you know, sometimes it's...
I swear I haven't been to a show yet.
It's like
I'm not one of them.
It's like 11 o'clock at night. We're trying to break down equipment, and you have people that want to go through the whole list of things that they've experienced in the paranormal. We appreciate that, but at the same time, it's like, I got a wife and baby at home. I'm exhausted. Most of the time when we go to these, we're setting up the projector, we're setting up the equipment, we're setting up the merchandise. So by the end of the night, we're exhausted. And it's so hard to break away from these conversations. And it's like, I know, email me the rest of the story. I got to go, you know. We try to give them as much time as possible, but sometimes some people seem to have trouble taking a hint. You know?
Right. I'm one of those people. I'm like, oh, do you need me to go? Just tell me. Sometimes I need to be told to leave. Not in a bad or creepy way, but...
I couldn't. I don't
just
think it
sometimes.
would be fine.
So go on, Bigfoot, yes. But think about it this way. Take it as flattering, how complimentary it is, because like I said before, you're bringing it to life. There's so many people that, for whatever reason, didn't talk about it. Manny, I'm sure you were very open with this being, you know, growing up, and you've been excited about it. But there's so many people that didn't have that comfortability with their friends, family, so forth. And so when they actually take a step out of the box and they get a chance to see your film, it's like, oh my gosh. And so, of course, they're going to have that pull to you because you're going to be able to so you know what I'm talking about. And even though you're over here being like skeptic and they still view you on a pedestal of like, but you've experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard the stories. And that's the draw, you know?
Well, one of the things that we knew was going to happen when we released this film was that it was going to open a Pandora's box of people wanting to tell us their stories.
Right.
And, you know, the film's picture locked. It's done. I mean, the most we can do is maybe add some things to the bonus features or file it away for a potential sequel down the road or something like that. But we had to set up a section on our website called Your Stories. And
Good
people
idea.
can email us their stories. They can do it anonymously or attach their name to it, whatever they're comfortable doing. And we'll put up verbatim exactly what they send us and put it up on the website. So there's just a list of stories in chronological order on the website of people that have submitted to us after the film premiered.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's so big. From you being on the show this past summer, that is the highest rated Spirit Connections. And I still get, because it's on my YouTube channel, I'll get everybody who responds to it or adds a comment to it. And I'm thinking like, oh, what is this? And then I'll see that it has to do with the Bridgewater Triangle. And I'm like, wow, that speaks volumes. So it's definitely, I don't think you guys were ready for the impact that it actually did for everybody.
Not really. I mean, we knew it was going to be big, but not
As big as...
Yeah, and it's still going.
Yeah.
It's still moving, so.
I think from an editor's perspective, editing this film, especially as we got towards the end, I would watch what we've did, and I'd say, we have something here. But to anticipate it being what it's become was impossible. You know, I never anticipated that. As of right now, probably close to maybe 4,000 people have seen this movie now, when you add it all up. So we never would have imagined that it would be that. So
and it's not, like we said before, it's not showing at mainstream cinemas. These are all...
small, independent venues, yeah. The most was the premiere.
Yeah. The only real theater is Dedham Community Theater. It's a small community theater, but
yeah, that's the only
real
movie theater that it's shown. Although Bridgewater State was pretty close to a movie theater experience.
Yeah.
That was a great venue.
Lily, you have something to add? No.
I have a coughing.
Coughing fit. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think you guys should check out Foxborough though, because that's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to reach out to anybody that is willing to show. I mean, one of the things that's been a struggle, in all honesty, is the public seems to get it. There's an enthusiasm out there for it, but when we take it to an independently run theater, there's some up in the Boston area especially, and we say, here's this movie, here's the success we've had, here's the press kit, here's a link to watch it, here's a trailer, here's some clips, we'd like to show it at your theater and work out an arrangement. And there was one up in Boston, they were like, well, you can rent our theater for $2,000. And it's like, we don't have $2,000 to rent your theater.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, some of the other venues that we've shown it at are reluctant to do some sort of a profit-sharing arrangement, so they say, all right, well, you can rent it for X amount of dollars, and we went ahead and did that, but if they had done the arrangement that we wanted to, they would have made more money.
Right.
So they shot themselves in the foot because they're not seeing the potential of the project and the interest that it drums up. I mean, all they have to do is just run an ad in the paper saying, we're going to show this film, and people show up.
They do, and I think that's the toughest thing is because of the topics in the film, a lot of people get, like yourself, skeptic. A lot of people get nervous about it, but people like myself, who I know, you know, wherever you play, I can guarantee you it's probably going to sell out. You know?
Yeah, the Alley Theater in Middleboro is probably one of the best places that we've shown it so far. And a lot of people have a lot of questions after the film's over. No one leaves, everybody stays.
Again, it's the draw.
Yeah.
I think one of the misconceptions people have is when you tell them we did a documentary about the paranormal, they automatically have it in their head that it's like a ghost hunting TV show.
Something negative, and yes.
Or even just that, it's going to be a bunch of people running around in the woods and abandoned buildings with infrared cameras and night vision and you know, what was that, ooh, behind the bushes kind of stuff. It's not that at all. It's a historical look at this region with a lot of true history tied in, true crime tied in. And not to toot our own horn, but I think what we've done is very different from anything else that's been done in the paranormal genre across the board. It's a very unique thing.
And it exists. that's like
Yeah,
there's books
it's
about
a-
it.
yeah.
And it holds, you know, a foundation. It's solid. And
Some people may feel that we made it up, but we didn't.
right, it's not the first time someone's, oh, what's the Bridgewater Triangle? I mean, it's been around, so it speaks for itself. But I understand. I understand on both sides, like because obviously I'm in it for like the paranormal reason of like definitely do it. You guys need to see it, but respecting the fact that there are people that are anti-paranormal and so forth, and they do think it could be something negative. I'm always repeating myself on the show, saying just because a location is quote-unquote haunted doesn't mean it has to be negative. It could be very well just haunted, but
Absolutely.
yeah, it doesn't need to be negative. So hopefully we can break those boundaries at some point, and it seems like you guys are doing a really good job at doing that.
Well, we're trying, and having us on this show was a big help, and we appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank you. Well, I'm
And for
excited.
hooking us up with the Duxbury venue.
I know,
We
I know.
appreciate that, too.
The Alden House guys, you guys, you're going back a third time.
Yeah, we haven't set a date yet, but it's looking like there's going to be a third show up there, so check the website.
You have to go there, guys. I'm doing an event there, July 17th. So that's going to be a gallery reading and walkthrough. You guys should come. You guys are invited.
Sure. What
Personal
day?
invite.
What date is
What
that?
day is that on?
It's a Thursday night.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I'm working.
It's okay. Well, I'm going to see you guys anyways the end of the month at Paranormal for Pause.
That's right. That's right. And then
So-
in June at TerraCon.
TerraCon. Hopefully you can get into one of my gallery
Linda
readings.
Blair's going to be there.
Yes, I met her at Scaricon in New York last September.
I just want to see Dee Snider. So.
Yeah, everyone's excited about him.
Yes. I'm excited for the Walking Dead
Of course.
cast, except no Norman Reedus.
Maybe he'll show up last minute. Who knows?
I don't even know what would happen. I don't even know. If he wanted to go see the Bridgewater Triangle, I would bring him. I'd be like,
I'll give you a ride.
Maybe he'll come. Maybe he'll come to a screening.
yeah. Oh, I would love that. Anyways, enough about the stalk. Well, again, I'm not a stalker. I just talk about it a lot. I'm just interested, that's all. But guys, if you guys are looking to check out the Bridgewater Triangle documentary, go to www.bridgewatertriangle.com. You can purchase your tickets if you can't make it out, but if you can make it out, definitely go to the Alley Street Theater in Middleboro this Friday night, and tickets are on reserve, so you can contact them.
Absolutely. Yep.
And excellent. And again, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Through our website.
Yeah, through the website, and you can also find a link for the Facebook on the website as well.
Emails, phone number.
Yeah, and the Twitter and all that. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So Facebook and Twitter, you can all find it through the website. I know sometimes it's mixed up. Yeah. But again, thanks, Manny. Thanks, Aaron, for being on.
Thank you very much for having
And
us.
I will see you guys soon. Thank you again. Have a good night.